hosted by Mike, the Big Cheese.
Welcome back to the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show. It is Sunday, February 25th, the last Sunday in February of the year. We'll never get to go back to this date and time ever again. I don't know, for some reason, February dragged on for me. It was a really, really long month. And I remember this time last year was my last month of work before I retired. I officially retired March 1st, and the month kind of was dragging on too. But that's because I knew I wouldn't have to work ever again a day in my life. But this year was really slow too. I don't know why. It's the shortest month of the year, but it's still very slow. Hey, but right there, Anvil with Jackhammer. Some of the best interviews we've ever had on the show have been with Lips from Anvil. He's one hell of a character. And, thank God, like the last couple of weeks, I think he must have been on the show about 5 or 6 times. And the last few, we did it over Skype, so I was able to, see him. He's a very hard guy to read, when you're doing an interview, because he talks, he pauses, and you think he's waiting for you to ask another question or to elaborate on what he's saying, but he's just high all the time, I think, so it takes him a while to get his thoughts going, and then he starts rattling on again. So doing it on Skype was a lot easier, because I see his lips moving and knowing that he was about to keep going on. So there was a lot of breaks the last time, but I was able to hold off on asking him anything until he started going. So he's a funny guy. Hey, but we got a great show for everybody tonight. JP Abboud of Traveler is on tonight's show. We were talking to him in about a half hour around 6:30, and Nicoletta Rosellini of Alterium. My Italian princess is on the show tonight, so don't forget to stick around for the whole night. We got a great bunch of guests coming up in March. There's no show Easter Sunday the last month, but we'll pack it in the 4 weeks before then. We'll start announcing the guests up on our website tonight, so check it out and keep an eye on it. You'll know who's coming up. All right, you know what? I wanted to play something off the new Judas Priest. I love the record. I love the last two Judas Priest records, and I've been a fan of the band, for 40-something years now. So let's get a song off the new record. Here's called Crown of Horns. Let me know what you think of it. If you haven't heard it. by Jag Panzer with Cardiac Arrest. I'm required by law to play that song at least once a year on the program because that is the song where I did get the name of the show from, Heavy Metal Mayhem. When Tommy had found Blog Talk Radio, I can't believe it was like almost 17 years ago now. He had a show called Metalhead United. It was me and him, like we used to just BS and talk about music and play a couple of old classic songs. And Tommy being Tommy, after doing it 1 week, he got tired and didn't want to do it anymore. So I said, you know what, T, I'm going to take it over. I'm going to keep doing it. And I tried to come up with a new name. And I was playing Cardiac Arrest, and they said Heavy Metal Mayhem. And I was like, okay, there you go. That's the name of the show. It's plain as simple as that, so I have to play it every year. Before that, Virgin, the band out of Sweden from the early 80s with Magic Man and brand new Judas Priest, Crown of Horns. You know, we had Rob Halford on the show, I think it was in 2010. It was right about the time he was rejoining Priest. And what happened was when I first started doing the show and I wanted to start doing interviews and, keeping it all classic 80s, I was calling up bands that I remembered from the 80s whose numbers I still had and people that still had those phone numbers. Or, Facebook wasn't even a thing back then. MySpace was the big social media site. I didn't even know how to use it. My daughter used to come in there and set it up for me and do things on there and put the show up there. And I never really knew how it worked, but she took care of all that for me being a teenager back then. And I used to, then I saw that, Attacker were getting back together with a new singer. I reached out to Mike Sabatini. He was our first guest on the show. And after that show, Matt McCord from the Wild Dogs was actually listening. And he emailed me or texted me or whatever the hell they did back then. I think sent me a message on MySpace and he's like, I'd love to come on. That I had him on, and that led to Flotsam and Jessam hearing it, and they came on. And it was kind of like a word of mouth thing back then. I was getting guests without really trying, so I was really happy. And then a couple of record label PR people heard the show and they got hooked up with me and they started getting me guests to come onto the show, and that made it so much easier where they would just get me guests, but it was all bands that were relevant at the time or bands that were coming out with records. They weren't the classic 80s bands. That's really what I wanted to focus on, so I'm still reaching out to a lot of those bands. And I remember digging out one of my old magazines from like the late 80s or early 90s. It must have been the early 90s or the mid 90s. Rob Halford was already out of Judas Priest. I think he had Fist going or that other band that he was doing at the time. And he had mentioned that, I just want to thank Chip, whatever the guy's name was, for helping us with this. I looked it up and I found that he had like a promotion company. So I reached out to him. So, I'd like to have Rob Halford on the show if he's not busy this week. He's acting like I was some big shot in the music business with this email. But meanwhile, I did maybe too much worth of shows. They were like a half hour long back then. And half the bands I interviewed weren't even active bands anymore. They were bands that were kind of broken up or not playing. So, he never got back to us. I kept sending out that email every week, the same email, every week, week after week, week after week. He finally gets back to me, and he's like, well, listen, we'll see what we can do with Rob Halford and everything, but I have this band, so maybe you can interview them first. And I was interviewing all these bands that I never heard of, and I'm pretty, prevalent in the music business. I know a lot of bands, but these were newer bands that were starting out that he was doing press for. I never heard of any of them. They were all signed to, pretty well-known underground labels, but I didn't know who these bands even were. Like, most of them were like the newer metal bands or bands that were kind of popular back then 20 years ago. So I would go, I worked in the city, so I was lucky. So he would say, go to this record label in Manhattan and this address and go interview the band. I go there, do all these in-person interviews. For a whole year, I was interviewing all these bands I never heard of. I think there was one band I was familiar with at the time, and they were like a hardcore band. And I come from those roots. So, and then Tommy would always come with me when we did them because when you go to these press days or you interview bands, and it's either in a hotel or at the record label's office. They always put out plates of food and they have drinks and everything. So Tommy used to come along. He never said a word, helped out with the interviews, but he just wanted to eat and drink for free and get out of the house for the night. So he used to always come with me. And that's how it went. Like a year goes by, and I'm interviewing all these bands. Like I said, okay, listen, I'm interviewing these bands. I like to set something up with Rob right now. He goes, yeah, we'll talk about that again. This is like brushing me off over and over again. So he goes, well, I've got David Rock Feinstein doing a press day at a hotel in Manhattan. Would you like to go? Now I got excited because, I'm a big fan of the Raj. We actually had Carl Candy on the show a few months before for the first time. So I was like, yeah, definitely. So Tommy, being a big Raj fan, came. And when you go to do these interviews with bands in the hotel, there's always somebody there, like a liaison from either the label or the press company that's handling the press that day. So this guy introduces himself. He takes us up to the hotel, introduces us to Rock. We were talking a little bit. Tommy's there with a stack of stuff for him to sign. I'm like, Tommy, wait for after the interview. Look a little professional, like when I diehard boy fans. Just wait a little while. So we're sitting there. He goes, the guy's like, you need time to prepare? I said, no, I just got to turn the recorder on. He goes, you don't have notes or anything? I said, no, I don't have any notes. He looked at me like I was a moron, like I didn't know what I was doing. Meanwhile, 1,200 interviews I've done for the show, I've never wrote down notes, questions, or anything. In 16 years and all these interviews, I've never written a note down. If it's a newer band I'm doing today, all I write down is the date that the album is being released, so I can at least remember when I'm saying it live. but I don't write anything down. I know these bands. You give me the Rods, you give me bands from names. I know them. I'm fans of them. I know everything I need to know about them. I don't have to write nothing down. So we were the last interview of the day because it was at night. So usually you get like 20, 25 minutes interview a band. I'm sorry for rattling on. Just think maybe interested in the stories, but so he goes, you guys are the last interview. You could take up to a half hour, 40 minutes if you want. I'm like, okay. So the interview starts. He goes, I'm gonna sit in on the interview because he thought we were like a bunch of amateurs and we didn't know what we were doing. So he wanted to be there in case things went afoul, so you could kind of end it. They're also like security guards. So we start interviewing Rock, and I start rattling out all these things from the 70s, 80s, stuff that even he couldn't remember. And we just had Rock on a few weeks ago. And Rock's such a sweetheart of a guy, and he was so amazed that we knew, or at least me. Tommy just sat there eating food, but I get for like 40 minutes straight throwing out these questions. And when we were done, we said goodbye. We all left together. We were hanging out outside for a little bit with Rock. We had such a good time, And it felt so good, to interview a band in person that you actually knew and were familiar with. It was like a big thing for us, And when we left, the guy that was the middleman says, listen, he goes, I have a radio marketing company. He goes, I was really impressed with that interview. I couldn't believe it. He goes, I don't deal with internet radio stations or online radio stations. We only deal with Sirius XM, traditional radio, broadcast radio, college radio. I don't do internet radio shows, but I really liked what you were doing. He goes, here's my email address, reach out to me and I'll get you set up for things and we can help you out with a lot of guests. I was like, yeah, okay. I left that. I couldn't remember the guy. I wanted that guy to was so professional, I was going to remember his number. I couldn't remember it. I couldn't remember the email address. 5 or 6 months later go by, me and Tommy we went to go interview Biff Byford from Saxon and Doug Scarrett, and he was there also. He goes, you never reached out to me. I've been waiting all these months. I thought he forgot about me. He gave me his info, and I've been dealing with that guy now for the last 15 years. I'm the only internet radio station that he deals with. So that's when I get a lot of the bigger artists or the well-known artists, they come through him because that's what he does for a living. He's a professional, and I really appreciate everything Muncie's done for me over these last 15 years. He's such a great guy, and I absolutely love this guy. He's one of the best. But that's how those things happen, That's just a little story there for you. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the music here. How about, what? Christian, before he leaves, if he didn't leave already, he's going to see Eternal Champion in Brooklyn tonight at the Roosevelt Hotel. He wanted to hear Danger Zone out of Italy, which is great because our second guest tonight is from Italy, Nicoletta Rosellini from Alterium. So we're going to get on I'm Waiting for You from Danger Zone. But before we do that, Christian, he's a drummer in a band called Chains of Leather, a great metal tribute band. I mean, when you talk about metal bands from the 80s, he covers all the great metal bands from the 80s. All the unknown stuff that people don't care about or know about, he brings it back to life. And they're playing a show on May 25th at Jimmy's in Kearney, New Jersey. If you're in the neighborhood, I know people that listen to the show come from all over the world, but if you happen to be in the tri-state area, head out to Kearney's on May 25th. I believe that's Memorial Day weekend, so a lot of people are off that weekend. Go and enjoy the show. His band Chains of Leather are playing. I believe the Bellows are on that bill, Overnight Sensation, and Fire and Ice. So head over there and check it out. But right now, here's Christian's request, Danger Zone. I'm Waiting for You.
Waiting for you all night. Don't let it be all over. When something here all night. Won't listen to our song now.
2, Traveler Dark Skull off the prequel to Madness record. We're going to get JP on the line right now. I didn't realize that we were running that late. I want to get one song on before we spoke to him. Unlike your adult children who disappoint you, Traveler never do. This is just an amazing record. Let's get JP on the line. Bear with me here a second while we dial him in. I'm going to miss doing the live show come next year. I hope something changes.
Hello?
JP, this is Mike. You're on the air live. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
I'm doing great, man. We haven't spoken since the first record came out.
That was, I was still young back then.
Yeah. Hey, look, you're still young. Compared to me, everybody's young. Yeah, it was a while ago, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it was a good bit ago, and yeah, Traveler's been through a lot, but we're back. That last tour we just did in July of last year, that was an absolute blast. It feels great to finally have the momentum back.
Yeah, I was going to say it must be good because, Termination Shock, your second record came out, I mean, really right at the beginning when COVID started really taking off and, things were getting shut down. And it had to be difficult because, you put out your second record, the first one brought so much attention to the band, and then you can't go out and play live. You can't go out and really do anything but promote it, the best you can. But 4 years later now with Prequel to Madness, you're right, you are back and better than ever.
Oh, thanks so much, Mike. I appreciate hearing that. Yeah, no, it really felt that way in the last tour that, we finally got through it. 'Cause it wasn't just the pandemic. It was also because we lost 2 people in the band, but it wasn't consecutive. It was the one guy took his time and then left, and then the next guy started taking his time. It was just no, but at least with Dave Arnold, though, he's still very much a part of the band, but just in spirit mostly, and then maybe some songwriting also.
True, yeah. I mean, new drummer, new bass player over the last couple of years. But, you're in a lot of bands. You've played with a lot of bands. This is part of the music industry. I think more than anything else is losing band members. And I know it kind of hurts when it happens, especially when you have momentum going, like you said. But it's just a fact of life. And, I mean, how do you adapt to it? I mean, do you say, oh, not again? Or, oh, we got to start over again, but, with a new person? Or do you just kind of roll with the punches?
That's an interesting question to answer now, actually, at this point in my life, because I was in an old band in Michigan back in the day, and I made lots of mistakes with how to do that. I just thought you could just do it, and that, there it goes. But no, I learned lots of lessons about that over the years, and so has Matt. We both played in lots of bands. So what ended up happening was we just saw it through. We saw it through properly. Took the time, really made sure, and then moved on when it was right so that there were no hard feelings at all.
That's a great thing if you can do that. I mean, most bands can't, but if you can, that's phenomenal. But, when it does happen, you have to look for, a new drummer, a new bass player, or anybody else in the band. I mean, now do you take more time to try to get the right fit for the band, or is always like a crunch situation where we got to get somebody, we got to keep this thing going?
I used to be that way, but yeah, I think maturity and just experience, you feel less out to sea doing it because you kind of have more of a plan in your head. You've done it before, so it's less of a desperate dash and more just okay, amicable,
True. And, before you came on, I was saying, Traveler never disappoints. I mean, from the debut record, the Termination Shock, the Prequel to Madness, I mean, the quality gets better and better. I mean, the band just gets tighter and tighter. It's just an incredible outfit when you think about it. And there's so few bands, I think, today doing what you're doing and putting out records that are so consistent. Because, you get a band like Iron Maiden. Over the years, you kind of know what you're going to get with Iron Maiden. Yeah, it's a little different today than the 80s, but everything is. But there's that consistency there. You know you're going to get that quality record with that good songs on there. Not a lot of bands can do that, but you guys are one of those few bands that deliver album after album. And you don't have to say, man, I hope it's a good record. You're like, I know it's going to be a good record.
I really appreciate hearing that, Mike. That's really cool of you to say because, this one was a hard fought victory as far as getting the record done. But we saw it through, and the way we did it too, the way we went about it is the lineup change is even represented on the album, and we really just saw the songs through to their logical conclusion. And the next one, it's going to be I don't know what the next one's going to be like because I'm hoping to get us all in a room and cook it up together as much as possible because we had to be separate so much during this last one.
That's true. But, the first record, second record, a little over a year apart, February seems to be your month. The first record came out in February. This record out in February. I think Termination Shock was April. So all around the same time of the year, you put your albums out. I don't know if that's coincidental. It's just the labels that are doing it for you, coming up with the date and everything. But not a lot of time between the first, second record. You really delivered and kept the momentum going. I know with losing two members and the whole COVID thing, it took a little longer to get this out. So with the next one, are you looking to let some time grow between this and the next one? Do you let this one kind of, find its way around out there, or are you looking to come back with another one as quickly as possible?
I think all of us are teaming at the bit to work on songs, and we'll just see where it goes. Because definitely, I was the voice during the process of Prequel to Madness that wanted to get it out earlier than it ended up coming out. But, you have to eat crow sometimes with your opinions, and Matt was definitely right in the time that we took to make it. So if that's a non-answer, I do apologize, but that's kind of just the honest answer.
No, it makes absolute sense. And, you and Matt there since the very beginning. Torian actually since the first record. So, I mean, there's a real consistency, I think, maybe because of the lineup and the people that are there. I mean, you've been in a lot of bands where you've maybe joined an established band already and you kind of have to fit into what they're doing. You've got Traveler where you were kind of there from the very beginning and you were able to form it to like what you want and what Matt wants and what all the members want. So how much of a group effort is it these days compared to when the band first started out? Is it more important to keep everybody involved? Because when people get stifled, I think it kind of like turns them off to wanting to be in a band because like, well, I can write music too, but Matt won't let me or JP won't let me. So, but is it more of a group effort now than it was like in the very beginning?
Definitely. It was very much Matt's baby at the very beginning, and he just grew it from there. Definitely more collaborative now, and more of a everyone gets to shine prospect as far as like getting to play these songs together. And one thing that's really cool now is this current lineup is. I just got a rehearsal recording back actually from today, from noon today, Calgary time, and it's sounding very tight. So I'm pretty excited to get with the guys and get rehearsing for the Hell's Heroes show later this March.
That's going to be great. I mean, the band is kind of all over the place, but with the technology we have today, that doesn't seem to really matter. But, when you first started out, have you seen the changes in how bands operate compared to like, all those years ago when you first got into bands?
Well, I mean, so sort of with that, and then actually going back to the last question too, doing a lot of different music keeps our chops up. Like all of us do lots of different music. I have a couple different projects that I'm working on, a solo project as well as a band called Among These Ashes, and another project that I'm driving this poor kid from Sweden crazy. He's like this kid that plays in this black metal band called Sir Keln, and he's got this cool conceptual prog rock record. He's got this cool album artwork by Ioannis, the guy that did all the old Fates Warning album covers.
Yeah.
And I've just been taking forever to finish it just because I have all this other stuff to do. And this poor kid, I've been driving him nuts. So yeah, we're to make it short, we're all working on all kinds of music at all times. So I think that keeps our chops up big time when it gets to Traveler rehearsal time.
Absolutely. I read you did an interview a couple of years ago. You were mentioned about something about a kid from Sweden that you were going to work with, but you didn't want to talk too much about it. And I kept saying, did I miss this? Because, I follow everything you do. And I'm like, I know COVID was around that time, so maybe they just put it off or whatever until later on because, a different country, they couldn't. But I was like, now that you mentioned it, I'm glad you mentioned it now because is it going to be in the black metal vein?
No, I forget. Can I swear on this show? I can't remember.
Sure you can, yeah.
Oh, I'm fucking it all up. That's why it's taking so long. I really got to finish this kid's stuff. The songs are all really cool too, but yeah, it's got this. He already has the album totally done. He's had it done forever, and it's not black metal. It's more power prog,
yeah.
But more of a lo-fi version, a little atmospheric, a little dark.
That should be good.
Yeah. He's an interesting. Everything he does is very original. Sir Kellen is a cool band. But that's his main band.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my eye out for this now because now you got me excited to hear this. But you've been a part of so many bands, but you favor the traditional power metal realm of music, but every band's a little different than each other. So does that kind of like keep you interested in doing different things?
Always, always. My only thing is like you know, I've had some years where like things have just been rough, where like life's just been just a bit of a raging sea. So it's like I always I can sometimes just suck at getting things done. So like I always seem to have a backlog of like 30 to 40 songs that I still always have to work on and finish. But generally though, once I do finish something, I feel like that lately that the time has been justified. So.
And that's all that matters in the end, is that when it comes out, that's a quality product and that you're happy with it. Because if you're happy with it, we're all going to be happy with it. And you were talking about Among These Ashes, Dominion Enthroned. I think it was about 2 years ago it came out. What a solid record! And we're going to debut a brand new song by the band that you sent me right after we're done talking. We're going to play that first before we do more New Traveler. But you've been a part of so many great outfits over the years. I mean, do you have any memories from some of the ones when you think back and say, "Man, I had a great time in that band, but I'll never do this again"?
Oh yeah. There's a few like I'm not these days especially I'm not the naming names type, but like there was one group where I definitely have to say that I was scammed into moving the guy, and that's what the tour was.
I think I know who it is, but I won't mention no names either. We're not about
like
gossip.
there was one where like it was actually like I realized that like it wasn't music gear that they were putting in the van, it was like all their belongings, and I'm like, wait a second. Wait one cotton picking minute right here.
Oh God.
There was a daunting realization.
Yeah, things like that happen. I mean, the first time I came across you and your music was with Borrow Time, back in 2010, 11, I think it was, and that was starting out. And that's how I became a fan of you and everything you were doing. And to me, I mean, I said earlier, I said, this new record is definitely my top 10 for the year. We're only into February, and I don't see it ever going out of the top 10, even though I hate making lists because I feel like there's so much great music out there. How can you say this is number 1, this is number 9, this is 300? But this is one of those albums that is so high up there on my list, I think many people's list, that it's going to carry you throughout the year. And you know the way people are today. They have very short attention spans. The album comes out on a Monday. By Friday, most people forget about the band or the record. But this is definitely one of those records that's going to carry for a long time. It's just that strong of a record.
I get that though. I don't grudge people like that. 'Cause, like, as much as I fight against turning into a person like that, I definitely I'm like, did I just read 3 books this year? I wrote 3? What?
Yeah.
It's just like it gets that way now. I don't know. Maybe maybe we need like some kind of guy to be like, hey everybody, like let's slow down. I don't know.
Yeah.
As soon as you start proposing a solution, you're like in your head, like that's kind of dumb. Maybe I'll stop.
It sounded good when I thought of it. There's always those things. But do you think things are getting harder in the music industry today? Because, when we had the downturn in the late 80s when, the traditional heavy metal scene kind of fell apart and then it was revitalized 20 years later and started coming back, it was a different scene. Record companies didn't have the control that they did. It was downloading, independent people, labels, people putting stuff out on themselves. Then social media took off around 2007, 8, 9, and people were promoting their own records and doing stuff. So, I mean, how have you adapted to the changes? You kind of came into this in the social media world where, you could promote that way, even though it wasn't that prevalent like in 2010 as it is today. But how do you adapt? How do you change to promoting yourself in today's music business?
I mean, I'm just trying not to be too out of touch or like get, we just did our first TikTok actually as Traveler. But the thing is like, Matt and Christina do a much better job of making a TikTok than I would do. So
yeah.
I think it's just a matter of finding like a niche and playing to your strengths or something. But like, don't try too hard to get involved because obviously it's not going to look as good as like the 15 to 25-year-olds doing it, but like maybe that's discouraging. I don't know. I'm conflicted. Cause I was a Luddite for a long time, but now I'm like trying to embrace more things and be less of a angry rock, So like, I don't know. One thing is, okay, so we came up in like the MySpace era, right? So
Yeah.
I never expected to get like super big famous special at all doing like that's never an expect like we came up right at the time where like every promoter was warning every band, oh, we're just sharking everybody, you all got to sell tickets, this is all pay to play now, this is the way it is, you know, like and that was like the kind of like, you know, ramshackle surroundings we had in my early bands. So we definitely like, you know, you had to want to do it because you were passionate, because you had to kind of like, you know, subvert the whole pay to play thing and play in places where it's like, you know, maybe a little messed up, maybe the cables don't have any good grounding, maybe everyone there is, maybe there's one group that's a little bit, I don't know about those guys, what are they doing, but you know, but that's how you had to do it.
No, it's very true. Like you were talking about MySpace, I had mentioned that earlier too, because that's kind of where the social media thing started. I think it was MySpace, and then I remember Facebook came out. I'm like, it's taken me forever to figure out how to use MySpace. I'm a different generation. I'm not from the social media generation. Like, and then Facebook came out. I'm like, nah, I'm not bothering with that. The next thing you know, MySpace was dead, and everything was Facebook. Then it was Instagram, now TikTok, and there was Tumblr in there. And I mean, do you feel like you always got to keep starting over on a new social media site and building it up to get an audience, or you could just do it the old-fashioned way. Go out there, play live, and win people over in the live audience?
I thought, okay, this is a weird thing. I thought there was a difference when Instagram started asking me, do you want to make a story? And I was like, no. And then like other stuff started asking me if I wanted to make like a little short video that gets deleted. And I'm like, no, you know? Yeah. And it's like, I was looking at these things and like thinking to myself, no, it's them. It's them that's doing it. They are forcing this on me now, and they weren't forcing it on me before, but this time they're forcing it on me, and I'm totally just trying to justify getting older. It's what it really is. what it really is.
I can imagine. But, you know, with the album out now, I mean, literally 2 days ago was the official release date. This Friday, the 23rd, was the official release date of the record. It's out there now on No Remorse. How does it feel to be on No Remorse? I think they're one of the better underground labels because I feel like they really know music and they know what bands are all about.
Andy is just super cool. He's the guy we know from the label, primarily from real life, just because he's been at shows and he's been at like Up the Hammers in Greece, you know, and he's like cool as hell just to like chat about underground metal with, and yeah, like we had finished our term with Cruz del Sur, and we weren't necessarily trying to like, you know, look for anything that different necessarily as far as like, you know, the kind of people that they're trying to reach, because we've, you know, have been seeing a lot of the same faces at a lot of our shows at all the different locations we play, and we want to keep those people with us. You know, that's what it's all about. And No Remorse was a no-brainer for that. And they've been going above and beyond. I wasn't even expecting some of the things that they've been putting out there, almost kind of acting like a proxy PR themselves, which is just totally like awesome, and you know, we appreciate that.
That is a great thing when you can get help from a label. Back, you know, in the day, labels were there for tour support, finance the records. It's not like that anymore. But I know, like, you know, the festival circuit is a big thing, especially today. We're getting more and more of them here in the U.S., which is starting to get bigger and take off and have a bigger audience. I mean, Hell's Heroes looks like it's getting bigger and bigger every year. A great festival to play over here. You have Legions of Metal. You have Blades of Steel now. There's a few other ones that are popping up. Some of the older ones are coming back. But most people want to get over to Europe because they feel like that's where their audience is. That's where things are happening. Does it get harder and harder to try to get onto those festivals? Because 20 years ago, they would take every band they can get because they were just starting out and they wanted to build up their festival. Now that they're so well known, it seems like a lot of the bands that were once there, it gets harder for them to get back, especially when there is a new record out to promote. So are you finding it harder and harder to get onto those European festivals?
Maybe a little, but like you know, it's not the worst. We definitely like you know, if it's a cycle where as an underground metal band we get back out there every other year or so, I'm down. That sounds great, because we had a great run, short, but you know, the thing about Traveler is you know, we're all still on our working Joe jobs, all of us, you know, so it's tough. We like can't lose our jobs, or like then Traveler ceases to continue basically. So we have to be very strategic about how we plan our tours. So a short run was done in 2022 with Thunderer, and that was a nice European run. And we're going to do another one. We get to play with this great band from the UK called Hanowar. They're like a Man of War parody band who are like the coolest dudes. Like just the most fun guys to party with. And then we're also opening for Night Demon on several shows as well. So that'll be not the longest run ever for us, but really awesome. I'm sure all the shows will be just gangbusters. And then before that, in August, we got that Mile High Fest in Denver.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I just heard about that.
That's it. That's it for the whole year. That's all the dates plugged pretty much. And it's it might not seem like a ton to people, but that's just it. If we push it too far and one of us loses our jobs, then Traveler stops. So it's just, we got to be careful. Yeah.
No, I completely get that. But you guys are going over to Europe, I think, sometime towards the end of the summer?
That's it was like late September through October.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be doing UK through it'll be the Hannah shows are just going to be a party, every single one. I urge anybody in the UK get out there.
I'm sure they will. I mean, when you later on in life, as you get even older and older, when you look back now, would you have any regrets about anything you did musically? Not about personally or with people, but just like, your musical output.
No, not really. Yeah, no. Like, I mean, there's personal things and actions taken and things like, oh yeah, I would have done that different, but not the actual content. No.
That's good. You had mentioned about something solo. I heard you say earlier, and we didn't get to talk about that. You're going to work on a complete solo project on your own?
Yes, that is well underway now. I'm still going to kind of keep it a bit quiet for a while and just show a few people the songs, but I'm working on that right now, and that features Mark Zonder, formerly of Fate's Warning and currently of Warlord, on drums.
I know. Mark's on next week.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
Yeah, Mark is on next Sunday night, so I'll have to maybe mention that to him a little bit. But musically,
he's totally going to be like, who's that?
Nah, I won't say nothing because I want you to make a big reveal when it comes out. But without giving away too much, musically, what realm are we looking at, like sound-wise? If you could just give that up.
I can actually. Yeah, it's everything I've done, kind of put together, all my influences, the things I love, combined with like the kind of sounds I think people like to hear from me, but not thinking too hard about that. More just like, it's gonna be like, some brisk '80s metal, like not too removed from Traveler, but there's also going to be some progressive rock and power metal influences as well.
That sounds like it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be difficult kind of separating everything. I mean, when you think about it, like right now, I think you got about 3 or 4 bands going at any given time at the moment. Besides Among These Ashes, which we're going to play a song off of in a little while. You still have Cyrix going?
Still have who?
Cyrix?
Oh, actually, no. Graham, this is, he's been sending me some rehearsal recordings. He's been working with a new drummer, and, we're going to see where that goes. Yeah, because he just, still wants me involved, he's telling me. So, we'll see if that next chapter is going to be written.
That's going to be great. When you think about the past, Borrowed Time, Funeral Circle, Gatekeeper, Shadow Self, what an amazing output when you think about it. Over the last 15 years, you could pretty much count on something by you every year out there for people to hear as part of your catalog.
Yeah. I just feel compelled to yell into microphones.
You do a great job at it. Were you always a trained singer, or was it something that you worked on?
No, I was like a total reject in art circles, like everywhere. Like I was the worst theater kid of all time. It was like, I really like, it was sort of like I was so bratty and manic that you could maybe spin that energy into something digestible for just about a few minutes. So I really had to kind of train myself over the years and just kind of learn on my own.
That's where the weed comes in, because it mellows you out and it gets you focused.
It's helped me out, actually. I will say that. Yeah.
That's the way you got to do it. But I think it was a year or two ago, you guys did a cover of The Prince from Diamond Head for that record, and to me, that's one of my favorite songs by Diamond Head of all time is The Prince. And the version you guys did of it, I felt like, when I heard it, I was like, if Diamond Head recorded this song, in 2022, this is exactly what it would sound like. That's how, you guys made it your own, you owned it, but you kept it so true to Diamond Head.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Yeah, I appreciate that big time, because that's a recording. It still might be my favorite I've ever done, as far as just a recording that I'm sonically satisfied with.
It is a tremendous song. And talking about, doing cover songs, Among These Ashes, you covered Restless Gypsy by Wasp. Is this something that's going to be in the new record, or is it a little teaser for what's to come? Because we're going to play that right after we're done talking.
Ooh. Yeah, well, we're going to put that out first, and then the record is next. But, the thing about Among These Ashes, one thing I wanted to have into the exclusive feature, one of the reasons, if I can get a sentence together, please. Okay, bad radio. Here we go. Okay. The Among These Ashes song, Restless Gypsy, the Wasp cover, features Matt Reese of Traveler on lead guitar as well, doing the Chris Holmes solo. So it's a kind of a crossover episode.
Yeah, it really is when you think about it. And what made you pick that song? How did you guys come up with a Wasp tune? That was on Electric Circus, I think.
That is number 3, big time. Actually, Last Command's my all-time favorite, but I love Crimson Idol and a bunch of the later ones too, to be perfectly honest. But Rich Clark, that's all him. He always wanted to do a big, huge cover of this one with just a few little riff changes that he was always having in his brain that he wanted to try out. So I think it all came out splendidly.
It did. We're going to play it in a few minutes, but I mean, when you cover somebody else's music, naturally you want to make it your own, but you want to keep it true to what it is. So how far do you go? Like, where do you draw the line? Do you say, wait, we're going way too off of what, this song is supposed to be? I mean, is there any, give and take where you say, all right, we can make it like this, even though it may not sound like the song, but, how does it work when you pick out a cover song to do?
I was just actually thinking about it today. This is tangential just a little bit, but I was thinking about man, I can't even remember how many covers I've done now and which songs. I can't even remember. I just say yes for a lot of years now. I'm just saying yes because usually I had my way with covers back in the day. Like Borrowed Time, we covered Necropolis by Manila Road and The Beast by Randy. And those were all my picks. But in recent years, I've just been saying yes to everybody else. So there's actually a backlog of covers that I don't even remember singing on sometimes when I hear them back.
I can imagine. You ever hear a song say, I wonder who's singing that? Like, that was me. I did that.
It's kind of like how it's impossible to choose a favorite band. There's just there's a billion songs I love. So it's just I'm going to say yes,
I don't blame you.
Wait,
I don't blame you one bit. But JP, I'm going to let you go because we got a couple of songs we want to play. We're going to debut an exclusive Among These Ashes doing Restless Gypsy by Wasp. And then I'm going to play some stuff off the new Traveler record. Then we got another guest coming on after you. But man, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. Do you think you're going to be able to get something going in the rest of the U.S. this year? Because I would love to see you guys get to the New York area.
I think we just got Texas next month, and we got Denver in August. But I really hope we get something cooking in 2025. I hope so, too. Talk to you soon, Mike.
You got it, JP. Take care, my friend. It's a pleasure like always.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, let's get on Among These Ashes, Restless Gypsy, the Wasp cover, exclusively here on the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show.
6 in the morning light. Can she hear me? The nations have been laid. The Lord will soon invade. 3 suns will fade away. Love may be rid of us. I heed your message loud and clear. A twisted violence exists in paradise in space, and I say we must fall, 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 fall. I am not a rebel of earth, a praise for all that it's worth. No longer will you burn or breeze. Come and take us. Deep 6 in the morning light. Can't you hear me? Foundations have been laid. The Lord will soon invade. 3 suns will fade away. Sunset for humanity. One last chance for Deep 6 in the morning light. Can't you hear me? Foundations have been laid. The Lord will soon invade. 3 suns will fade away. Deep 6 in the morning light. Can't you hear me? See these battle scars, sound the curse upon the stars. The sea will dry away.
All right, brand new Traveler off the prequel to Madness record, Rebels of Earth. Definitely one of my favorite records to come out this year. Right before that, an exclusive, we debuted Among These Ashes with Restless Gypsy. JP really, in my opinion, captured that whole aura and tone of Blackie, old school Blackie. Because if he was doing it today, he would be lip syncing or doing it with backing tracks. But that's just the way it goes, right? What a great guy, what a great band. Definitely pick up the record. You won't regret it. It's one of the best out there. I didn't want to talk about Slayer, but I have no choice. They reunited after, 4 years, 5 years of not being together. I remember, and the funny thing is that there was a little press release with one blurb from Tom Araya about how when he's on stage for 90 minutes is the best time of his life or whatever. But there really hasn't been anything else put out there by the band or spoken to by the band, which really is just Tom Araya and Kerry King. Those are the two remaining original members. The other two guys are just hired guns that have been with the band, for some years now. But the only people that seem to be talking about this reunion nonstop on the internet are their fucking wives. It seems like they've married a bunch of Yoko Onos, all these guys. I mean, I see more and more bands. I mean, you have Duff McKay from Guns N' Roses does the show on Sirius XM with his wife, another blabbermouth. I mean, why do these guys let their wives do the talking for them? They were able to start these bands up as kids, turn them into careers. They turned themselves into some of the biggest bands out there who are pretty much well off financially. Why do you let your wife speak for you? I don't get that. Aisha King, Kerry King's wife, I remember when the band was done, she was saying that, Tom Araya and Kerry will never share the stage again, ever. Not under the name Slayer, not under that banner anyway. That's what she said when it happened, because she was pissed off for Kerry because Tom didn't want to do it anymore because he didn't want a toy. He wanted to stay home with his kids and with his family, and I completely get that, as time goes on and they're gotten older. Then she says some other shit. She's always talking shit, this woman. I mean, I don't know how to fucking get it. Then she was like, no Tom, no Slayer, Kerry, no Slayer, no Tom, blah, blah, blah. She's always rattling off. And then Tom Araya's wife has said that, when this happened and the decision was a difficult one for Tom, that she said to him, don't second guess your decision, just make it. It's about time. And Kerry doesn't need to know anything. And, you need to stop doing this now. Now she's on there talking about how she's been trying to convince him for the last 4 years to get back out and play. Is it because he's getting under her skin at home? She just wants him out of the house? All these wives are talking. And then you have Gary Holt's wife making comments on the internet about, how people are nasty and negative about this reunion, then they shouldn't go. But, Gary Holt, love him, great guitarist, founder of Exodus. I don't consider him a member of Slayer. He was just a hired gun that was filling in for Jeff Heyman when he was sick and couldn't play. Then when he died, they made him an official member the last couple of years that he was torn. But he doesn't split the money with the band. He gets paid a salary. Dave Lombardo was getting paid a salary when he rejoined the band. Then I could give Gary Holt anything. So I don't get it. The wives do a lot of blabbering, and this is what happens. Like, now they're playing at 2 festivals in the USA. So for that $1,000 ticket you paid to see Slayer on their final run when they were retiring, like Kiss and Motley Crue and the Ozzy and all these other bands, the Scorpions, they all retire and they never do. And believe me, listen, I get it. When I stopped doing the show 2 years ago, I said I was retiring. I was putting it to bed because, I was babysitting my grandchildren. I was still working at night, and I just didn't have time to do it anymore. It's hard to, do 2 things like that at once, and I was just burnt out, and I stopped. The second I stopped doing that show, that first Sunday, I went and sat in front of the computer. I'm like, I don't do it anymore. And it took me 2 years to start it up again because I was like, I don't know. I feel like an idiot coming back. I said, I do get that. You say you don't want to do something no more, and then if you've done it for so long, you miss it when it's gone and you want to do it again. I do get that, but I don't know why bands just don't say, after this tour, we're taking a break for a little while. We're going to reevaluate things. We'll see what happens. They always use that retirement, that last tour thing. Foreigner, our last tour. Foreigner's doing it the Kiss way. They're doing their last tour for 4 or 5 years now. And Mick Jones, I just said, I think he has Parkinson's or MS. I don't remember what he has. So he don't even play half the show. So it's just a hired gun band playing it. And once it officially ends, now you have Jeff Pilson already saying that, it's not going to end. We're just not going to tour anymore. And I did remember Tom Araya saying that they weren't going to tour anymore, but they might do shows here and there. But just say we're going to put it to bed for now. We're going to give it a rest. We'll reevaluate it in the future. Don't say you're retiring because it's a cash grab. And you have the diehard fans. I know better from living through Ozzy's retirement, Scorpion's retirement, Kiss's first 2 retirements. I know better. So you go and pay $1,000 for a ticket for general admission to see Slayer's last time ever coming to your town, and then they announce 5 years later playing a festival in your town, and you can get a ticket for about $50, get airfare and hotel for less than the price you pay for the ticket. So you kind of feel robbed and you kind of feel beat when they do stuff like that. I'm happy that Slayer's back. I haven't liked Slayer or any of their music in the last probably 10 or 15 years. I don't think they've put out a good record to me since Seasons of the Abyss, South of Heaven. Those were like the last 2 records I really cared about. Didn't like much of nothing after that, but that's just me. Other people love that stuff. They don't like the earlier stuff. It is what it is, but you know what? If you want to go waste your money to see them play live at those 2 festivals, well, I mean, you're going to a festival, so you're supporting a lot of other bands too. But if they do go out there and start headlining shows in other places that aren't a part of the festival, that's got to be disappointing to people that spend tons of money to say goodbye to them, just so other people can see them again for next to nothing of the cost. All right, that's enough for that. We don't have a lot of time tonight. We got to get to the music. We have another guest coming up. Nicoletta Rosellini from Alterium in about 10 minutes or so. You know what? Since Dennis is in the chat, let's play some Sanction.
He dresses his father with hate in his disguise, piercing his own veins, lets out a cry. Falls to his knees with sorrow in his eyes and watches his mother die. Hail the Blood Warrior. He rides with rage in his eyes. Hail the Blood Warrior. Waving his sword in the sky. Hail the Blood Warrior. Into the arena of death.
right, we started off that set with Sanction, The Betrayer, Kid Gloves out of New Jersey, turning around. It was sort of a New York, New Jersey metal set right there. And we ended with Man of War with Hail to England. You know, JP had mentioned going over to England and playing with Man of War, Man of War bands. I figured we'd get on Hail to England. Listen, I was a humongous Man of War fan back in the 80s when the band first came out. You know, all those albums with Ross the Boss I loved, but even the last few Ross the Boss albums are getting a little repetitive. You know, the same themes, the same song, the same dress, and after that I kind of lost it for them. I know they're the biggest thing in Hungary and Budapest and Greece these days, but back then Manowar was just a club band. They really, very rarely ever made it out of like Lemoore or Lemoore's East Side clubs. That's what they did, but I remember the first time I had Ross the Boss on the show when he was starting his Ross the Boss band. I was like, Ross, what the fuck was the deal with that kabuki music that played for like hours and hours? Like, if you saw Manowar in the club back then, they put on this Japanese kabuki music, which was like, you knew they were coming on when the music started, but holy shit, that music going on for a half hour, sometimes an hour. It was so annoying. It was like, we did that to get people upset, to piss them off, so when we came out, they were so excited, they would scream and yell. And it worked, because it worked. They were screaming at the band because we were so annoyed that they kept playing that, but I kind of get it. They were just a great band back then. You know, it's a different band today. You know, let's be honest, Eric Adams is probably one of the finest singers in metal. He still has the chops. Not like he did when he was 20 years old and the band was started, but he's an amazing singer, and you can't take that away from him no matter what. So, Manowar coming to Brooklyn, I think next year, is it? I don't remember the actual date. Tickets sold out really quick. I think it's the King's Theater in Brooklyn. It's a beautiful little theater, like Radio City Music Hall type of theater. But for some reason, they said that they're not selling seats in the balcony of Manowar because nobody looks down on Manowar. Go figure that one out. The tickets went for a fortune, too. But they sold them out in a couple of days, so maybe they'll get more shows, or maybe they'll start coming back here to the U.S. again. Who the hell knows? You can't predict that kind of stuff. All right. We've got Nicoletta Rosellini from Alterium. Let's play a song off the brand new record, the debut album, and then we'll talk to Nicoletta.
Io desidero
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nicoletta. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What about you?
I'm doing great. I'm going to have to slow down my talking because I'm from New York and we go really fast.
Yeah, thank you. Please do so.
I promise I will. But listen, such a big fan of your music over the years, and I'm so happy that you put this new band together. I mean, how did it all
Thank
come
you.
about 2 years ago?
Well, actually, as you probably know, I was in Collidia before, which was my very first band, and in October 2022, actually, we decided to split because it was impossible for us to work together anymore. Actually, we have different views on what was going to happen in the future of Collidia, so we decided to split. But so me, Dario Gozzi, the drummer of Calidia, and Paolo Campitelli, who was the live guitarist for Calidia, we decided we still wanted to work together because we thought that we could do great things together. And so we came up with the idea to form a new band. Actually, I also have some leftovers song that I wrote for Calidia, and I was still enjoying what I did, what I wrote, and I thought that this could be the first step to build up a new band and write a full album.
And it's such a great record. And after 10 years of Kalidia, I mean, did everybody in the band sort of feel the same way? Because I believe Paolo has said that he was kind of blindsided, like he didn't see it coming, that the band was going to break up at that point in time. So was the changes like gradually happening over the years where you just felt like it wasn't working anymore?
Well, I think you were referring to Federico,
Oh, Federico, I'm sorry.
yeah. Actually, I think he saw it coming. And actually, it wasn't my intention to split the band, but I wanted to sit down with them to discuss about the future of the band because some of their behaviors towards me were absolutely not fine. But they blew up when I mentioned that the band could split, and we had a strong argument discussion. And so that was the point that I realized that I cannot discuss with that people anymore, and it was better to split because I've tried for more than 2 years to make thing going, even if I already understood that there was something not going in the right direction. But it was still too difficult for me to let Kalidia go because I've worked so hard for more than 10 years for that band. I did all the management stuff, all the social media stuff, part of the songwriting. I did all the booking, so it was a huge part of my life. And I wasn't ready to let it go like that. But in the end, there was nothing that I could do to change the things. And sometimes it's just better to let it go. But nowadays, I think that I should have done this before because now I feel like I have everything in the right place, the right people, and I'm really happy about Alterium.
True. I mean, do you consider Alterium a continuation of Kalidia or a new version of that band, but brand new? if it's hard to
Yeah,
come up with.
I think it's a brand new band, actually. Of course, as I said before, I had some music I wrote for Kalidia that I brought in the debut album of Alterium, but we had a totally different set mind, and we are working together in a very different way from what we did with Kalidia. And also the new members, Alessandro Mammola on guitars and Lucas Calabrino on bass, they are already writing some new music for the second album, and I can say that they are very talented people. So I consider Alterium. Of course, there are some references to Kalidia because it was still my band, and so it may sound some kind of similar, but I consider this a proper new band.
I agree 100%. There's always going to be some similarities because you were the vocals of both bands, so that's impossible to get away from. But I think
Yeah.
Alterium is taking you musically in a whole new direction also. Besides the familiarity that we have from the old band, there's this new sound right now going on.
Yeah.
Now that you have Alterium going, do you feel like, everything now can be the way you want it to be because basically you're in charge and you don't have to really deal with other people's opinions and what they want to do. Now, you're the boss.
Yeah, actually, yes, I am. But I can say that we've been working together with the guys for over a year now, and we never had a disagreement or an argument on something. So we are all focused on making this project successful. So it's very easy for me to work with this kind of people. I'm ready to take over all the job, all the work that has to be done. So I don't feel like I have too much pressure on me. It's fine for me. I'm totally ready to work my ass off.
It's a,
And the guys are really supportive. They are helping actually, and they are not complaining. And we actually share exactly the same vision, and we wanted to make this band successful. So it's really easier for me to work in this situation.
That's great. You said that you kind of do everything. You deal with the booking, the business part of it, the musical part of it. Does it ever get to the point where one kind of interferes with the other, where, you want to be creative as a musician, but yet, there are business things that you have to do? And does one kind of conflict with the other where you say, well, I want to do this musically, but, I have to think of the business part of it. So if I do this, maybe it won't work.
Yeah, actually, I think this is what happened with our debut album. Actually, we wrote and we recorded more than I think it was like 14 songs, and but in the end we ended up to only feature 10 songs on the album, and that's because the music business has changed a lot in the past years. Nowadays, releasing music constantly is more important than a full album. I'm not saying that I like it because I'm a huge fan of vinyl and CDs, so I prefer the physical format. But nowadays, music industry is more focused on the digital release, and if you want to grow a band in fast and in the great direction, unfortunately, you have to release a lot of singles or a lot of standalone songs instead of albums. So, yeah, that was the compromise we did for releasing this album. So there are gonna be more singles after the release of the album. More music is coming. This is not something that I like a lot, but yeah, nowadays you have to do some kind of compromise.
And I was going to ask you that too, because since September of last year, when "Drag Me to Hell" came out, you pretty much released almost the entire record in singles before
Yeah.
the album. And I was going to say, when you do that, doesn't it take away from people wanting to buy the record because they've either bought this? I know most people today, they, like you said, they buy digital. They go online, they order the one song for $1 or $2, and they don't buy the whole albums anymore. But you do have the diehard fans that want to buy that
Yeah,
record,
yeah.
especially when it comes out on vinyl today. People love to have it for the collection. So I guess it is a give and take, so, but doesn't the record company kind of lose out in the end if everybody's just buying a single instead of the album? Because, even though the band kind of invests almost all their time and money into making the record, the label does do the distribution, and they have to make some money
Yeah.
off it somehow.
Yeah, actually, I think as I said, the music business changed a lot, but I think that those kind of people that are still buying CDs and vinyls, they don't care if there were already 6 or 7 singles released before the album of official release date. They will buy it anyway because they are collectors. They love to have the physical product in their hands. They want to check out the booklet, and this is something you can do only if you buy the physical CD or a vinyl. So I think it doesn't affect much on the sales. And as much as I know, the pre-sales of the album are going actually good. So we are really happy about this, and I think this is the right direction. I hope in the future we can do less singles and and save more songs for the album. But for now, we need to grow fast because I'm not that young anymore. So
You don't look a day over 18.
thank you, too kind.
But do you think it's more of a business aspect, or is it also the fans included? Because I know, like, from speaking to a lot of bands, they have the same attitude as you do. We have to keep putting music out there all the time to stay relevant, to have people come to our site to buy our music. They put a record out, they make a big deal out of it, and then 2 weeks later it's forgotten about because
Yeah,
there are
exactly.
so many bands, so much music coming out. And I remember the band Skid Row from here in the U.S. saying, we're only going to put out EPs from now on, like 3 or 4 songs, because we could put more of them out, and people will buy them because they don't have the attention span anymore to like go through a whole record. So, do you think it's the fans' fault as much as it is the business, where they just don't dedicate themselves to a whole band or a whole record?
I think it's probably the birth of some streaming platform like Spotify made it more easier for the people to listen to music without actually buying the CDs. So maybe before it was a little bit tricky because you have to download, to find the link to download it, like piracy was a little bit more complicated. While nowadays you just pay $5 and you can have all the music you want. So it's really easier. I think this is the main problem, that it's easier, and people, maybe, as you said, they cannot keep concentrated on an album, on a full album. But as you said, there's a lot of music coming out these days, and so I can understand a little bit the fans. They are getting a lot of music to listen to. So this is, I don't know, actually, maybe it's 50%
Yeah.
fault on each side. Maybe, yes, the fans, but also the birth of digital streaming platform actually took away some of the CD market. And I think also it's interesting because if you see the latest music business data, there's a lot of vinyl sales at the moment, which is something really unexpected. So I think the collector, people who loves to have the physical product, they will still buy it anyway. Even if Spotify is there, they will be buying anyway. Maybe CD sales get a little bit lower, but I think we can compensate with the vinyls and with limited edition box set and stuff like that. I think people love to have this kind of stuff in their hands.
True. I mean, the music business is no different than any other business. It evolves,
Yeah,
things change. I mean, I'm a lot older than you, but I remember as a kid, we had cassettes and albums. That was all we had. And then CDs came out, and everybody sold their albums to go buy CDs. And then
yeah,
CDs started fading out, and everybody started buying digital. Now we're going back to vinyl again. So it comes in
yeah,
waves. Everything happens and changes.
exactly.
I think in about 2 years, the music business is going to figure out a way of implanting the songs directly into our brain, and we don't have to physically buy anything anymore.
That could be interesting.
It would be. Talking about the new record, I mean, when Drag Me to Hell came out last year, the single, that was the first shot I heard of, the new band. Was the whole record recorded at that time, or were you in the
Yeah.
process of working on the music and just putting out the singles as the music was being recorded?
No, actually, we got the master of the album. I think it was around March 2023, and we then got signed with AFM Record a month later. And so the album was already done when we released the first single. Actually, "Drag Me to Hell" was one of the songs we composed specifically for Alterium, so it's not a Collidia leftover. It's a brand new song, and we wanted to use that song that maybe represents us a little bit more better than some old songs that I have left. So, and I think it was the right decision because the song is pure power metal with a strong riff, strong guitars, and a very catchy melody all over. So I'm really happy that we decided to go for that song.
You know, one thing about of War and Flame is it's an album where every song is a winner. There's no fillers, there's no tracks that felt like they just had to be put in there to fill up the album. And that's rare today where you can buy an album with 8, 9, or 10 songs, but every song is a winner. And is it hard to pick and say, here's a song we want to kind of define the band to people for the first time? I know you kind of did that with Drag Me to Hell. You just explained that. But with so many other great songs on the record, is it difficult to choose like how you introduce yourself as a new band, even though you're not new in the business?
Yeah, actually, that's also why in this particular case I was happy about having 6 singles before the album release, because I think that every song express a different shade of our sound. We have the more power metal stuff like Track Me to Hell, the more symphonic power metal like Of War and Flames, the more melodic metal in the style of Nightwish like Siren's Call. Then we have the medieval tavern song like Crossroads Scene, and then we just released our latest single Crystalline. So it's a beautiful emotional ballad. So I think that all these songs have some kind of different feelings, and they are actually showing our all of our shades of our music.
And one thing I really love is Bismarck. What a great cover from Sabaton. I mean, it takes on a whole new life. And when you could take a song that's well known from another band and make it your own, I think that's a challenging thing to do. And you did it with this cover.
Yeah, actually, we try to be, of course, we try to keep the main feeling of the song without changing too much. Of course, it would sound different with my voice, considering I'm not Joachim. But I think it also sounds interesting because I have a lower vocals compared to other female artists. So I think the song somehow was fitting my style. But we decided also to add some personal touches to the song, so we add a lot of orchestral layers to that song, some huge choirs, so that we have a full version, but also a slightly different one.
I know it was only a year or two ago where Leaves Rolling in Time came out from Walk in Darkness. Are you still going to keep that going now, or is all your focus going to be on Alterium?
Actually, I just recorded, I think 2 weeks ago, a new single with Walk in Darkness. I will keep on working with them, considering they are just a studio band, so it doesn't require so much attention and work. And also over there, I'm not doing anything else than singing. So I just got to the studio. They tell me what to do, and I do. So it's really easy for me to work with them. And actually, I like what I do with them, and I think it's it's different from what I do with Alterium and Kalidia previously, and I think they can work together without colliding at any point. So I think I will keep going with Walk in Darkness too.
Oh, I'm glad. Well, Walk in Darkness definitely has more of that gothic type of feel to it than everything else you do, but you definitely tread well in the symphonic metal area. I mean, was that something that you were always into, or did it just fit your vocal style so well that you decided, hey, this is kind of where I want to be?
Yeah, actually, I grew up listening to a lot of symphonic power metal. Here in Italy, we have Rhapsody, and they were absolutely one of my main influence when I was at high school, but also Stratovarius, Sonata Arctica, Nightwish. So yeah, I grew up basically listening and singing over that kind of music, and it came really easy for me to do that. Actually, when Kalidia started, it was basically a cover band of those bands. So I started singing metal with those bands, and I'm still listening to them. So I'm still I think that was my music.
Yeah. Well, when metal kind of died out after 1990, and it was difficult for a lot of the traditional metal bands to
Yeah.
make anything happen. I think it was the symphonic metal bands from Europe that came out 15 years later that really reignited the spark for heavy metal and kind of brought it back.
I think probably Stratovarius did it. They were one of the first power metal bands that, for the very first time, they featured this really talented singer with a probably completely different from what we heard before in heavy metal. There were more rock singers. Now with power metal, we also had a lot of more pop singers with clean vocals. So I think that Stratovarius was one of those bands that rebuilt the genre altogether with Halloween too. Yeah, we can also mention Halloween.
Absolutely, and it's bands like Alterium that are going to keep it going forever, I hope. And Nicoletta,
I hope the
I'm gonna
same.
let you go now because I want to play some songs off the new record. But March 8th on AFM Records of War and Flames, what a great album! Anything planned
Thank
for
you.
the band this year so far? Anything lined up?
Yeah, as I said, we still have 3 songs to release in the coming months, and we are working to book new shows. We just signed a deal with a booking agency, so I hope to see many of you on the road soon.
Well, if you get to New York and the USA, I will definitely
I
be
hope
there.
so.
Fingers
I hope
crossed.
so.
Nicoletta, have a great night. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
You too.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye
Thank you so
bye.
much. Bye bye.
want to thank our guests tonight, Nicoletta and JP, for being on tonight's show. Alterium, brand new record of War and Flames out right now. Go pick up a copy of it. Prequel to Madness by Traveler. It came out Friday. Grab yourself a copy of that. I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday night. Mark Zonda of Warlord is our guest, as well as who else we have on the show next week? Ilana Sorella from Leaves Eyes. So we got a great one coming up for you next week. So we got a whole bunch of great guests for the month of March. But I'll see you guys in 7 days. Have a great week. Take care. Let's wrap it up with one more tune. This comes off of Carl Kennedy's project called Thrasher from back in the 80s. Here's a song called Ride the Viper with Rick Cottle on vocals. Take care, everybody. Have a great week.